Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining me. Got some interesting stories for you today. Hey, Connie Balmer. Thank you for the book. It has so much information, especially for us women. Well, I'm so glad it is inspired in that way. That was exactly what it was intended to do. Thank you so much for your feedback. Also, speaking of feedback, thank you for everybody who responded to my community tab post talking about the length of my podcast. Sometimes it's difficult as a content creator to know exactly what it is that your audience wants. And sometimes I forget to ask. So thank you to everybody who responded. It seemed like the average length that you all like for a podcast is 30 minutes to an hour. And that's great to know, because sometimes I can feel like maybe I've gone on for too long, or maybe I haven't given enough detail. And thank you also for the people that, added a little bit more context to your responses, because I know from your perspective, as listeners, you all are always super, super supportive. But from my perspective, I always know, or I feel when I maybe haven't done a great podcast. And, I'm always open to feedback and, growing as a content creator. So, never feel afraid to give honest critique. I try to take certain things into account. Like the other day, somebody actually said that her daughter recommended the podcast to me, but because she's a little bit older, she prefers if I speak a little bit slower. And sometimes I do speak a bit too fast. So thank you for all of that feedback. I really, really do appreciate it. And I'm always trying to find ways of making the podcast better. So thank you. Ella, lovely afternoon to you too. Hey, Margaret. Hey, Patricia Nixon. Hey, Joan Garcia. Carol Land. Who I haven't seen for a while, y'all, because I don't have a direct contact to her, but I haven't seen Dorothy Ross in a while. So Dorothy, if you're listening, or if there's anyone within the squad that you talk to, please, let us know how you are. I hope you're okay. I believe she was having treatment. So I'd love to, know how you're getting along. Please do let us know. Donna, you said it's late here in Australia. I'm just listening without commenting. Well, you'll be thrilled to know that a certain crazy right-winger clown will not be allowed into your country. So, when you fall asleep, you can fall asleep peacefully. All right. I'm just read one more comment. Rahini, you said morning. Morning to you. Who said 30 minutes? We could go on for hours. Love you. Oh, thank you. There were a couple of people that were like as long as possible. But no, I would not want to fill your ears with royal stuff all day. All right, let's get to it, shall we? What do we have first? Okay, first and foremost, I hope all of you in the States are casting your votes. Please do not let us go back to this. The political space, what can I say? It's complicated, and and I understand how some people might feel that, okay, I'm voting for the lesser of two evils and all of that stuff, but do you really want this? Do you want this? I don't want this. I don't think anybody with any sense wants this. So, and I know, I've heard from many people in the Democratic Party, I'm not happy about this, I'm happy about that. And that's, that's fair enough. I'm not going to chastise anybody for that. But if you're not going to make a sensible choice and allow this to be in charge, I don't know what to say to you. I did watch the rallies. I watched both Kamala Harris's and the Trump rally. And it was, it was so worlds apart. It's actually insane. During the Trump rallies, you had a who's who of pervs and weirdos. And while I don't particularly like the idea of celebrity endorsements either, I did watch Beyonce and Kelly's speeches, and they were so graceful. So it was more like trying to say things that bring people together than the divisiveness that you saw on the Trump side. I mean, it's actually just been wild watching all of this. To all of my American friends, I hope you're taking care of your mental health, because I don't know how I could live in this and live immersed in this the way y'all are having to at the moment. I pray for you, and I really do hope that Kamala Harris wins the election. I think that from what I've seen, a lot of these right-wing outlets are trying to make it seem like a closer race than it actually is. I personally believe it's actually very clear that she's going to win. But you all can tell me. I think she's done a pretty fantastic campaign, and I think she's done all that she can do. It's just left for everybody to show up and vote. But you all tell me what you think. I'll go and catch up with Baron and see what he's saying. Rahini, you said American Squaddies, I'll be wearing blue on election day for you. Indeed. Let us not go back. Indeed. And if the Simpsons predicted it, then definitely listen. The Simpsons predicted it, so she's definitely going to win. All right. In oven, let's go back to the Royals. Patrick J. Adams, who is a former co-star of Meghan's on Suits, he posted a carousel of different pictures. You know, they're going to do like a Suits reboot, and they're doing like a Suits podcast as well, where they're doing a watch along. And he posted this carousel, and Meghan was one of the pictures. A lot of people have been saying, well, I hope Meghan, you know, does something with the cast. Patrick J. Adams did say in a Reddit thread that he had, Meghan had reached out to him and said, is there anything that I can do? So I kind of took this as a hint that she may be involved in some way. And I hope we do get to see something. I'm yet to watch Suits. I need to. And it's incredible to see how it has, you know, just become even more popular after all this time. Next thing. Now, do you remember when you know, the whole Frankenstein photo thing came out, and people now started speculating about, you know, what's going on with Kate? Is she still even alive? Is she with us? What's going on? Are they cloning her? And they were blaming the squad for, you know, spreading all of these conspiracy theories, when actually, you know, 90% of the commentary about Kate going missing and what was going on with her, it was actually the general public. You don't get the conversation get that big and that large just because of the Sussex Squad, who was, you know, still, I mean, there's a lot of us, but you don't get a conversation that loud just from the Sussex Squad. The discussion leaked off of, you know, the Sussex Squad circle, and everybody was wondering what in goodness name is going on with these people, and why wouldn't they, given the history of this institution? Why wouldn't people be speculating? Heck, why wouldn't they even be asking if this woman is still alive? Why do they behave as if they're so innocent, as if, you know, we don't have a reason to question anything? And if people are actually making those type of accusations about your institution, that's your call to look inward. Look in the mirror. Look in the mirror and look inward. What is it about us that people would even be making those type of accusations? And then they started saying that, you know, Russia and China was responsible for the misinformation. I mean, they're going to be blaming Russia and China for the rain in London at this point. People were suspicious because of the way this institution is. People were spreading conspiracy theories because of the way this institution is and has been for a very long time. They have not shaken the stench of what happened to Diana, the way she was treated, and her untimely death. That is why rumors were going around. That, and also the way in which they handled, you know, Kate going missing for treatment, you know, Charles, the announcement of his illness and her illness. Also, just the way that they've handled all of this, the secrecy around it, the weird statements, that also created a vacuum. And people were trying to fill that space, trying to think of, okay, what's actually happened here? People don't make weird speculations about institutions and people who they trust. And it wasn't Russia that created a Frankenstein photo and had the audacity to give it to official press, who shut it down. That was the palace. Can't be blaming everybody else for your own actions. Righty. Next thing. So Australia doing the right thing. I saw this and I just cackled and howled. Yet another Meghan hater getting their karma. Oh, yeah, let's have a read of this. So Australia rejects visa application by right-wing US pundit Candace Owens. Candace Owens, who has on many occasions used Meghan for clickbait, said horrible things about Meghan. She's also an avid defender of Andrew Tate. And a lot of that has to do with Tate's relationship with her weird husband. Her husband, who was on a podcast recently and was saying how there was nothing romantic about the beginning of their relationship, that, you know, he didn't even buy her flower. I mean, imagine your husband going online on camera and saying these things, that he thought so little of you, that he thought you deserved nothing, not even a bouquet of flowers. And mind you, this is an aristo nepo baby who's the child of a very wealthy man. He is British. His father is also British. Women like Candace Owens, I just know she's seething at night because she has to look at Meghan with this loving, adoring husband who was willing to give up a whole kingdom for her. And she has a husband who goes online and brags about, I didn't even buy her some flowers. Like, there was no romance. There was no. I mean, imagine. I just know Candace is seething, and that's why she's always coming for Meghan. I believe that marriage is a sham, by the way. I think a lot is going to come out about their relationship, and the whole setup with Candace is just weird. Rahini, Candace was a beauty call who got knocked up. No, they actually agreed to get engaged, I think, after 2 weeks. And they were married not too long after that. They actually got married very, very quickly. Which is why I believe the whole thing was just this weird business arrangement. He saw, you know, this black woman who was spewing right-wing talking points. And she's become very successful in that space, more successful than other right-wingers in her space, other YT people in her space. But it's going to be interesting to see the fate of this woman as we move forward with the Andrew Tate case, because she has been a huge defender of him. And, you know, if you're actually reading into the details of that case, don't believe any of the internet hype from the incels and fools and trolls that support Andrew Tate. I've read into the details of that case. He is very likely going to jail. So is his brother. Very, very likely. Don't believe the nonsense. And it's going to be interesting to see how Candace and that husband of hers defend themselves, because there's nothing to defend. Anyway, sorry, I went off on a tangent there. So Australia has rejected far-right provocateur Candace Owens' visa application ahead of a planned national speaking tour with the Immigration Minister, Tony Burke, saying she has the capacity to invite discord. Indeed. Hardy har har har. Laughing my ass off. Minaru said, we may not like Kate, but we were curious about what happened to her. Exactly, because whether we like Kate or not, we are still talking about the royal institution, the highest institution in our land. So if they have done something nefarious, we should know about it. If there's something has happened to one of their most senior individuals in the institution, we should know about it. That is definitely a concern. Lottie, you said, I thought Candace Owens and her husband, dad, separated. Her husband, dad. Well, I think her husband's father has issues with the way the two of them conduct themselves, if that's what you meant. But her and her husband are not separated, not at the moment anyway, not that I know of. Okay, next thing. Yeah, there's still a lot of conversation about the Australian tour, but for all the wrong reasons. I mean, they wouldn't stop talking about Harry and Meghan's Nigerian tour and Colombian tour. They just couldn't believe how successful they were. And now there's still chitter-chatter about Camilla and Charles's Australian tour for all the wrong reasons. You had Camilla Tominey over here. Camilla Tominey, who was on a panel speaking with the Heritage Foundation not too long ago. Heritage Foundation, who are linked to Project 2025. She wrote this: "It's one thing to be an Australian Republican, it's another to be rude." You know, a lot of people were calling Lydia Thorpe, the MP, the Australian MP who protested, rude, angry. Had she not protested like that, we wouldn't be having a conversation. I don't know why it is that they always have to expect that everybody behaves in a manner in which they find comfortable, when actually these conversations are meant to absolutely be uncomfortable. And whether or not you agree with, Lydia storming in like that, the fact is the conversation was had, or it's at least started in a way that it wouldn't have had she had done a more quiet protest. Also, there's talk that royal tours could be in jeopardy. And I mean, considering how utterly bored everybody looks like, in this picture, nobody's enjoying this. So yes, end the royal tours. Unless you're invited, don't go. So this is from... Hold on, folks. Trying to load the article. Whoopsie. Oh, give me one moment, folks. Also, while I'm trying to get this up, I also wanted to post this. Where is it now? Apparently, Camilla and Charles, on their way back from Samoa, went to India. Now, we had heard that on their way there, Camilla had gone to India. These are the same people who will tell you that takeout coffee and eating an avocado toast are the reason you're poor. And with that 500 million that we're spending, they're taking spa resort holidays and having the absolute time of their lives after a back-breaking 2 weeks or however long it was, smiling and waving at people. I mean, there was one event where Charles wasn't even there for 10 minutes. Anyway, so royal tours may soon be over for good due to anger over slavery, Harry and Meghan. There have been protests and calls for reparations over slavery during the King's visit to Australia and Samoa, along with anger over the situation for the Sussexes. The future of international royal tours looks shaky. I mean, I don't think that William will be going to Australia. Definitely not for any royal tour. Maybe he can take Earth One there. But I think it's obvious that he's not going to be welcome. I think maybe places like Samoa or these smaller islands, which unfortunately still do tap dance, he can go to those. But I think a lot of places are saying, we don't want you. The king and his family may have to rethink their approach to the Commonwealth and realms after yet another tour was disrupted by protests and arguments over Britain's colonial past. Charles and the Queen's official visits to... calling Camilla the Queen. Charles and the horse's official visit to Australia and Samoa this week will be fondly remembered by the thousands who turned out to greet them. But for many around the world, the enduring image will be of a heckling Aboriginal senator being dragged out of Parliament House in Canberra after accusing the king of genocide. Yeah, I mean, that was the highlight of the tour. Nobody remembers anything else. And that's why that type of protest was needed. Anywho, I'll go to your comments and then we'll get on to the next thing. I think the rule going forward should be you only come if you're invited, and if you're invited, bring something impactful. Also, before I do get onto your comments, King Charles's doctors are concerned about him following his royal tour. Well, he stopped treatment for almost 2 weeks. So I'm sure they would be worried. I don't know why you would stop treatment for such a serious illness. There's concern among the King's medical team after an anonymous palace briefing that he will be returning to a full program of overseas tours in 2025, having skipped his cancer treatment to make the latest tour. And with no one certain how his body has coped, it was planned that he would take time off on his return, allowing him to recover and for doctors to carry out a full assessment of his well-being. Well, if he's going to be going on more tours in 2025, is he going to pause all treatment and follow-up treatment every time he goes on tour? What was the point of pausing it this time that he went? They've got more than enough money, facilities, good doctors, so for him to have been able to continue his treatment, or quite frankly, just stay at home if you're still on treatment, finish your treatment. Because nobody really asked you to do this tour. So why put your health at risk? You know, I really do feel sorry for Harry. Harry's still a monarchist. This is still his father. This is still his family. And I'm sure, you know, it makes him very sad that his father's ill. It would make any child sad, regardless of the situation. And remember, this is an institution that Harry grew up in. It's very difficult, even with everything that he's gone through, to let go of certain things. So I know this probably, you know, it probably breaks his heart. But the selfishness of Charles and his behavior and the way that he has put Harry's family at risk, I wonder now, as he's going through all of this, is he having any sense of reflection, any sense of regret that he did wrong to the son that would have stuck by him and stood by him? Because what we're going to look at later on in the podcast, it seems like William is just like there next to the watch, tick tock, tick tock. When is my turn, you know, to be king? Hi. Rahini, maybe he was seeking alternative treatments in India. Charles is a homeopath. Yes, that actually could be a possibility. And Rahini is correct. Charles is known to be fond of natural treatments. Mind you, these are people who believe that they were ordained by God. So, they believe they're superhuman, right? Okay, we'll go on to the next thing. William, who's going to end homelessness, bring peace to the Middle East, rescue the polar bears from the global warming. This on the cover of the Mirror. William, Mum is my inspiration. She's your inspiration, but you called her paranoid in front of the whole world. You know, I don't understand why William's people, the palace courtiers, didn't just stick to a beige and boring campaign where he shows up to, you know, some homelessness charities and he's like, I'm here to promote these homelessness charities. I know that I'm, you know, I've got all these riches, but please donate to these homeless charities, and just stick to that. Why did they have to go all the way and be like, I'm going to end homelessness in 5 years with £3 million or whatever, you know, pennies the Royal Foundation is putting towards this? Why do they have to go that far? They've pretty much set him up for failure. the audacity to say that you, somebody who has 30 castles and gets hundreds of millions a year, you are going to end homelessness. Can you imagine being an actual anti-poverty campaigner, an academic in this space, and having to watch this? Can you imagine being somebody who's actually experienced homelessness and having to watch this? Homelessness happens for many reasons, but part of the reason comes down to government policy. And it's not like William is going to say anything to the government on their role in tackling homelessness. I don't know what the palace courtiers are doing or why they even had, William go down this path. What are they doing? You can just, stick to your earthworm. You could have, I don't know, you could have done something with the arts. You could have done anything else. But I'm going to end homelessness. Me with the 30 castles, I'm going to end homelessness. Me, part of the family that is at the very, very top of the social food chain in this country that causes the inequality that happens, or I would say directly causes, but it's part of the cycle of inequality. Me, part of that family. I'm going to end homelessness. Like, I don't know. You can probably hear it in my voice, but like, I don't know what to say about that. Just wow. Thank you so much, Paulette, for the super sticker. Much appreciated. Thank you for coming and donating. Let me actually just put, I forgot to put the Buy Me a Coffee link to anyone that wants to donate. Appreciate you all. Donai said, only gets attention when invoking his mother or brother. Yeah. And that's probably why he had the audacity to bring up his mum after calling her paranoid. Joan, you said, I think William's handlers or PR people can control him. I mean, we don't know the half of what goes on behind those palace doors. One day we'll know, and I think it'll be a million times more shocking than we ever anticipated. Harry himself said he has what? An extra 300 to 400 pages of spare? Release the extra pages, please. Release the extra pages. We want to know. Rahina, you've got Sean super chat. Oh, yes, I did. Thank you so much. Now I can see it. Sean, you said, and now New Zealand is investigating her and she could be on their bans list. Oh, really? What is that, Candace? Good. Yeah, do you know what? I think the ban against Candace Owens, I don't actually think it's because of her right-wing views. I don't think it's because of that. I think it's because they suspect, first of all, her linked to Andrew Tate, and they probably also suspect that she's linked to other foreign entities. I don't think it's just because she's a right-wing speaker. And it has been said, allegedly, that her and her husband are getting money from the same nefarious figures that have been giving money to Tate. But thank you so much for letting me know that, Sean, and the super chat. Ban her everywhere. Wendy, you said, William at 42 has no successful projects that actually help the people or the environment. I mean, something like homelessness, it is so intertwined with politics. And we're told that the royals are just meant to be, these figureheads. They're not meant to get involved in politics. So they kind of shoot themselves in the foot with this. I believe that homelessness actually at its core is a human issue. But you can't talk about it without talking about the political aspects of why homelessness happens, or certain things that contribute to homelessness happening. And certainly wealth inequality being one of the obvious ones. Okay. Yeah, and this was the tweet that I was actually looking for from a Miss Cheryl. She said, I've been homeless many times, lived on the streets at 17. Never once did I think, Oh, I wonder if Prince William will help me. Nah, he will use homeless people as an ego boost, whilst all his huge homes remain empty. Tone deaf, mate, not the public boost you wanted. I was on a bus the other day. I was going to, where was I going past? I was going past, I think it was Hyde Park, and I actually saw this mini homeless encampment. And I've seen a couple of these in kind of different spots in London. I saw one in Edgware. There was another one, I think I was going towards Wanstead. It was just like a couple of rows of, tent houses. And that's new to me. And I don't know if anybody else in London, maybe I just have been paying attention all these years. I'm, coming to 34. It's not that, obviously there's, homeless people anywhere you go in London, but homeless camps, this is not something that I have ever really noticed in London before. It's only maybe in the last 5 or 6 years I've been noticing it. And I think it's really a sign of how bad things are getting. And there's no excuse for, a country as wealthy as the UK to allow this to happen. And it really just slaps in the face, I think, more than anything, that William is doing this. I think the better thing for him, if he genuinely wanted to help, I think the better thing would have been to, highlight the work of these charities and homeless campaigners and academics, and maybe help to bolster, give them a platform to talk to government. But for him to sit there and say, I'm going to end homelessness with some measly little £3 million, pound campaign, I mean, and this is also after, William has refused to reveal his tax bill. Even Charles at one point did. So he's actually being even more secretive about royal money. Oh dear. All right. Rahini said the monarch could go on a building spree to help drive down rent rates. Yes, exactly. There's so many things that you can do, but a lot of them require government. And there's also the matter of the Duchy of Cornwall. If someone dies with no surviving relatives or no will, their property can be passed on to the Cornwall estate. The same is true on the dissolution of a company registered in Cornwall, where any remaining assets pass to the Duke of Cornwall. This is known as bona vacantia. I think I did a whole podcast on this some time back. So at every opportunity, even after you die, they're taking your money. Alrighty. This popped up on my feed. Pippa Middleton and husband in row with villagers over use of a footpath at 15 million country estate in Berkshire. Because they just won't let anybody have peace. I mean, this just seems super selfish to me. But let's have a read of this. Pippa usually just stays out of the news, so why they would do anything to give themselves news at this point in time. Anyway, Pippa Middleton and her husband are reportedly at the centre of a dispute in their Berkshire village over public use of a footpath on their £15 million mansion. Mind you, there's still disputes over the Middleton family and the money, and them owing businesses money. The Princess of Wales' sister and her partner James Matthews broke with local convention by putting up private no public access and no trespassing signs after moving in. The previous owner, renowned designer and restaurateur Sir Terence Conran, had allowed locals to use the country lane leading up to the Jordan Mansion's private drive. After 50 years of access, the change has reportedly left frustrated locals unable to use the once popular footpath. A villager told Mail Online, I like to walk and I don't see why I can't walk there. I've been walking along there for 50 years, y'all. their £15 million estate is not enough for them. They also have to block people's footpaths. When Sir Terence had it, he had no objections. I think we should have a right to roam. Another said, it feels like they are depriving the village of an amenity. People might get the impression they are throwing their weight around. Ms. Middleton and Mr. Matthews moved into the mansion 2 years ago and have not commented on the reports. It's interesting. I mean, they can afford a £15 million country estate, but the Middletons can't afford to pay back the small business owners who they scammed. Mind you, this is Pippa's husband and it's his money. He doesn't have to bail them out, but for the sake of, the family not being embarrassed, it's surprising that he wouldn't, or that the palace wouldn't bail out the Middletons. To preserve their privacy, the exact location of their home has not been disclosed, beyond it being in a village in West Berkshire. It is understood that access to the drive is not a public right of way, and permission for public access is at the discretion of the mansion's owner. Well, the Berkshire Council is currently reviewing an application by a local walking group to designate the access as right of way, which would require the couple to allow public passage. They were always allowed to walk by in previous years, but now it's owned by someone else. They've just exercised their right, a village added. Well, I guess you could also make that argument, but sad for the people that were used to having that access. Alrighty. Was there anything else I wanted to go through before we wrap things up? Oh, yes. Two things that I wanted to go through. So, there is a documentary this Saturday called The King, the Prince, and Their Secret Millions. And it is going to air at 8 in the UK. Now, I didn't actually catch wind of this at the time, but this was meant to have aired a couple of days ago. And at that time, it was just a mystery documentary. They didn't actually give away the title, but it was canned hours before airing. The series was the Dispatcher series was set to return to Channel 4 for another special episode at 8 a couple nights ago. However, just hours before, it was canned from the schedule. Now, here's my theory on this. There was probably things that they wanted to say about the King, the Prince, and Their Secret Millions that the palace probably didn't like, and the palace lawyers wanted to have a look at. And I'm not even sure that I'm going to watch this now, because Channel 4, I think they're pretty balanced with the royals. They don't necessarily bend over for them. But I get the sense that some, palace lawyers have looked at this as probably the reason why it was delayed. And I don't know if it will be as hard-hitting as it may have been. But we'll see. I was surprised to see the advert pop up. I was like, oh, what's this? If you're in the UK and you're planning to watch it, I'm still undecided whether or not I want to watch it, because I guess it's nothing that I don't know. But I may watch it just to see how far they go, or what they say, how much of the truth they're willing to tell. In the middle of all of this, rumors about William and Kate's union continue to swell. There was an article that I saw trending where they were talking about Kate's ring and giving all these excuses why she's not wearing her ring. Mind you, she was wearing that ring scuba diving, and that they were resizing it or cleaning it. I mean, if they wanted to resize or clean it, wouldn't they have done that all the time that she was away? Also, she is going to miss William's earthworm. She was well enough for Wimbledon, well enough for trooping, but won't be going to earthworm. But they will be bringing in celebrities to add to the sparkle, to give Willie a little bit of sparkle. because the beard ain't giving him the sparkle. So we need some models and actresses to come in and help Willie. I think that William is going to get a wake-up call. If the rumors are true and he does want to divorce Catherine, I think he is going to get a serious wake-up call. There will probably be some move to replace her, find someone else. But where William and this institution is in terms of popularity, I don't think a divorce between William and Kate will be the end of the monarchy. Absolutely not, because a royal divorce is at the bottom, of the list in terms of royal scandals. In fact, it's expected. Divorces and mistresses and love children is the most consistent thing that the monarchy does. But so I don't think it will be like the end of the monarchy, but I do think it will put a further dent in William's popularity. That I do think. So they need to think very, very carefully about how they move forward. Consistently attacking Harry and Meghan and deflecting by trying to say that it's Harry and Meghan that are divorcing, Harry and Meghan that are separating, just because they're working, they're doing their own separate projects. Ridiculous. Doing this. I mean, look at how many articles here. This is not going to help William and Kate. And if it is indeed true that there is some kind of separation or announcement coming, the derangers, the trolls, the people who have believed all the lies about Harry and Meghan, I don't know how these people are going to cope. I don't know how they are going to cope, because they are knees deep in a fairy tale that is a lie. And they genuinely believe that the problem is Harry and Meghan. I don't actually know where this was from. I think it may have been from the National Enquirer. It says William and Kate appear to be at a dangerous crossroads in their marriage, and the palace is desperate to keep it under wraps. The senior courtier tells the National Enquirer, with King Charles battling deadly cancer, the royals can't handle another major crisis. Kate, 42, has long been seen as a key to saving the crumbling monarchy, which has been rocked by illnesses, scandal, and assaults by renegade royals Prince Harry and his wife. Assaults. Those assaults being just telling the truth. I'm told the king has ordered William to pull out all the stops to keep Kate by his side, says the courtier. Even Queen Camilla, who has no love lost for Kate, not really, is urging her not to make a hasty decision she'll regret. Listen, whatever is happening behind the scenes, we're going to know sooner or later. There's only so much that they can keep this contained. And it seems like the press are slowly trying to tell us something. I mean, this is GB News, which is typically a royal propaganda mouthpiece outlet, using pictures like this. I mean, look at the picture that they used for Kate and William. They want to speak and say something so bad. So bad. But they can't because they're gagged. Alrighty. Let's go to your comments and then we will wrap things up. Hey, Robert Collins from Rome. One of the girls who I follow on Instagram, she just went to Rome recently and it's just giving me nostalgia. I really want to go back. Beautiful, beautiful city. But I'd love to go back with someone because I went last time as a single solo girl. So I'd love to go back with someone. Mina, you said, how in the hell are you going to block a footpath way that's basically public for everybody to walk? Well, I mean, it's a £15 million estate, so it must be pretty large. Yeah. So I don't think this was like a vital footpath, or else they definitely wouldn't be allowed to block anyone. It's probably just because the estate is so big, and the person who lived there last was like, oh yeah, y'all can walk over here. And now they own it. And they're saying, no. You poor folk, you can't walk where we live. William needs a good CNA scrub bath and shave. What's a CNA scrub bath? The shave, yes, I do agree with. Gently wondering if Oprah is regretting helping Dr. Phil or Dr. Oz. Oh, are you referring to them being at the rallies? I don't know. Maybe she is. I mean, it's didn't Dr. Phil actually have his medical license revoked because of allegations against him, and he actually hasn't been a a licensed doctor for some time. 80s and 90s, the talk show era, like that was the wild, wild west. Oh, thank you to I love my HIU. You said the GBN and UK media, the British and UK media is, and that the real cash cow is in America. Is that meant to be meanwhile? The crown feeds them crumbs. They should have taken Harry's deal. Yes. Indeed, they should have. Thank you so much for the super chat. But that time has passed. There's individual on Twitter. I don't know if this man is squaddy, it's an elder man. But he continuously posts things about Harry and Meghan should come back to save the monarchy, and you know what they do is so good, and they could do a lot of work in the UK and all of this. I'm just like, I don't understand what people like that don't get. And it seems like he's genuinely a fan of Harry and Meghan, and he, probably wishes that they would come back. But come back to what? Come back to being abused? Come back to being unprotected? Like, do people like that forget that this lady almost committed a suicide while pregnant? Like, are you all really, you all who had that opinion, are you all forgetting what it is that Meghan has gone through? There's nothing to go back to. Absolutely nothing. I'm going to say it right now. If Harry and Meghan went back, I would be mad. I think the further away that they are from this institution, the better. Because looking at the reaction, for example, to William's I'm going to end homelessness within 5 years project, and just what people are saying about the economy right now and how people are struggling, institutions like the monarchy are going to be one of the places where people rightfully take out their rage. The further Harry and Meghan are away from this, the better. It's interesting that Harry and Meghan offered to give back their titles, but Charles said no. If it was me, if I was in Harry and Meghan's situation, I would literally just have a press conference and announce that I'm giving back the titles. Don't even give them an option. And then the palace and the government have no option. Like, just hit them with a surprise. Nothing good is going to come from them being close to this institution. Nothing at all. I love my HIU said, YouTube is messing with my super chat vocab. I'm over it. I meant they're mad at the crowd. Yes. I don't worry. I get what you meant. I was also flubbering reading what you said, so don't worry. I 100% get what you said. Thank you so much for the super chat again. Much appreciated. But yeah, nothing good is going to come from them being too close, because they will get used as scapegoats. They'll come back, try to help, and then before you know it, Harry and Meghan will be blamed for homelessness. And then it's going to be William coming in to save the day to end the homelessness. No, they are peaceful, they are happy, peaceful under a tree, making jam and playing polo. Mushu said, and that's why the British media is messing with Harry and Meghan. It's because of that title. Yeah. Anyway, I can only speak as an outsider. I'll never know what it's like to be in very unique and strange shoes as Harry and Meghan are in, but at this point, I don't see how they would gain at all by being associated with an increasingly unpopular institution. I don't see what they would gain. Maybe someone can tell me. Maybe there's something that I'm not seeing. And I don't feel that Harry and Meghan should be the ones to save this institution. In many ways, I feel like Meghan was almost like this ancestral test. And the institution failed. So what is there to save, and why should they be responsible for helping save it? And with that, I'm going to end the podcast. On Friday, it is my birthday. So we'll see. There is actually something that I want to say on my birthday, but I'm still undecided how I'm going to say this. I may actually do a pre-recorded I don't know if I'll do a live on my birthday. I may do a pre-recorded podcast, but yeah. I will let you know what's happening on my birthday day. I'm turning 34. My gosh, 1 year away from 35. Where has the time gone? Where has the time gone? Anywho, have a great day, everyone. Those of you in the US, if you have not casted your ballots, please go and cast your ballots. Let us not go back, please. And yeah, wishing you all a fantastic day. All right, we'll speak soon. Ciao.